Today, it is my pleasure to introduce someone I look up to very much. Bobbi Govanus, with a 30-year retail career and a successful transition to launching her own computer training business from her Minnesota home. Bobbi grew her company to over 20 million in sales, reaching clients globally. Recognized by Entrepreneur Magazine and honored by Minnesota as a woman in business advocate, she also created the Reinvention Retreat to help others transform their lives. An Amazon best-selling author of 5 books, with 6 on the way, Bobbi is also a dedicated volunteer and master event planner supporting numerous nonprofits in Central Florida. She lives with her husband, Gary, in Haines City, Florida. Let's give a warm welcome to Bobbi Govanus, and let's try and talk her into joining Rotary. No pressure.
Good afternoon. I am actually recording this again because we had some technical difficulties, but the presentation was covered at our Rotary luncheon on May 30th. I am very excited to be here and to share some information with you about reinvention and how important it is to your emotional health. I'm Bobbi Govanus. The opportunity today is to talk a little bit about change and why change is crucial. We have to accept that we can do something. With our IQ, we're pretty much stuck with what we have. We can't really, it's relatively fixed. And so we are given an opportunity, though, to work on our emotional intelligence that we have total control over by choosing to be self-aware, to be self-regulating, to increase our motivation, involvement in things, and empathize with others. This will increase our emotional intelligence as well as our relationships benefit every single day by what we choose to do instead of what we actually might feel like all we can achieve. I like to talk first of all, about the self-awareness piece, and that there are tools out there to discover ourselves. And there are many, and I'd like to share just a few with you. The first one I'd like to highlight is Strength Finders. That was developed many, many moons ago, shared with us by Gallup. There's a book out there that you can get on Amazon, download it, and take a test. And it helps you to identify your strengths. There's 36 possibilities. But what we find so often is that we spend so much of our time on what we feel like our weaknesses. But what they've found is if we focus on our strengths, number one, we're happier. Number two, we're much more productive. And number three, we achieve things that are amazing and can change the world. So it comes down to just making sure that we understand what our strengths are. The next one I recommend is 16 Personalities. Very similar to Myers-Briggs in that there's 16 personalities, but they take this and give you an opportunity to self-identify, work within your own kind, or, in understanding who you are, but also how you relate to others. And understanding others makes it much easier to interact with them. It gives you an opportunity to face every day with, again, focusing on your strengths, understanding your tendencies, but then making good choices. Many, many people are aware of Myers-Briggs and have taken them over the years. I am an ENFJ from the get-go, from the womb practically. And it's so funny that all 9 of my brothers, or 8 of my brothers and sisters, there's 9 of us, are all extroverts. We all have other different qualities, but each of us is an extrovert. And many of us have married introverts. So it's interesting to see the dynamics of family and understand that both the 16 personalities and Myers-Briggs will give you a benefit to do that. Next is Black Sheep, and I really recommend Brett Mansour's work because what it amounts to is that sheep farmers have diagnosed or figured out that what they need is one black sheep for every 100 sheep that they have, and that's how they count their herd. And so if you have an understanding of your black sheep, which are your values, then you can always keep a good handle on what your life is about, how you're affecting others, how you're affecting yourself, what those values are, and keeping them forefront in your mind makes for your self-discovery and your life to be so much more impactful and full. I love his work, and I feel like it's really made a big difference in my life and the lives of friends that I know. The third or the fifth one is the one that really helped turn my life around. I went through a very disappointing, aggravating, frustrating, and devastating time when I was after going through a business loss. And so I needed something to help pull me out. What I found was the book Reinvention, Making the Rest of Your Life the Best of Your Life by Brian Tracy, and The Passion Test, which is written by Janet Gray Atwood and Chris Atwood. And it has become, there's over 4,000 Passion Test facilitators throughout the country or around the world. They have, I mean, people in India, Africa, and, you know, all of the Europe. But we have, and I became a Passion Test facilitator because it helps people to identify their top 5 passions. And when they know their top 5 passions, that reinvention is so much easier because they focus and they're clear about what that passion is and how they can put it into their life. It is that awareness, that self-knowledge that really can help you to make discoveries that probably will change your life. I really, really strongly recommend it. All of us, like 98% of the population, likes to live inside our comfort zone. And the whole idea is there's not much going on in there because we're in survival mode. We're in protection mode. It's that little part of our brain that says, nope, it's not safe out there. You need to stay here. You'll get hurt if you try that. But what happens when we step outside of that comfort zone? Our lives can change. Our lives can be better. And so when we embrace that, we get new proficiencies. We get more confidence. We have abilities to manage our relationships better because we can empathize with other people. We get to know what those other people are experiencing because we've learned a little bit more than just what we know inside that comfort zone. It's important also for conflict resolution. If we can empathize, if we can step outside, we know what it's like to fail. We can understand another's feelings a lot better than if we just live in this little bubble. So I really totally recommend getting outside and making sure that every day we step out and try to do something new with our lives. Our comfort zone is a wonderful protective place, but it's very limited. It keeps us bound inside of what we know, what we've done, and the successes that we've had. When we want to grow, when we want to change, when we want to thrive, we will need to bring more new things into our lives. If we continue to just kind of, I call it wallowing in our comfort zone, we end up with a very dull life. I mean, it's very, I would say, boring. I kind of call it the difference between a rut and a grave is the length. And so experiencing new things, tasting things that are going to open us up are just found right outside of that comfort zone. As you self-reflect, which is part of that emotional quotient, you'll recognize how abilities to reach a little bit further will make your life better and also make the lives of those you love better. I love, love, love the 4 test. The 4-way test that you all embrace at Rotary is allowing you to make such a difference. And when you embrace that in everything you do, it will be all that you will need to have to reinvent, because you'll use your privilege then to opt in. And what's our privilege? Well, some people are great bakers or organizers or writers or surveyors or leaders. And every time you use your privilege, you make a difference for the world. And so we will always approach it as being authentic, living in our truth. We will be fair to others when we opt in to use our privilege to help others as we meet them, and we meet them where they're at. It will promote better relationships and always give you the opportunity to meet someone. I love it at your lunch when the newcomers are introduced, everyone stands and shakes their hand and sings a song, making them feel welcome to the area, welcome to the group. I think that shows that you're reaching outside yourselves and making a difference for those who decided to visit. And it's going to benefit all concerned when we make a difference. We create new things, and your privilege and opting into doing what you can do will contribute not only to yourself, but to the world as a whole. I think that there's nothing that compares with giving a real benefit as the Rotary standards contribute. I love it though that, and I jokingly ask, has anybody ever said, we can't do it? We've never done it that way. That's impossible. In any of these areas that you want to promote and make a difference, I call those people the discouragement committee. And people that live in the discouragement committee can always find something wrong with every idea. But there are ideas out there and they float around in the sky. And if you get one of those ideas, you need to take an action. You will be able to make a difference if you listen to that action and take sincere steps to achieve whatever that idea presented for you. These ideas are gifts. I call them gifts from God. And when I kid around with I coach business owners, and I say to them, when there's 2 or 3 women that can agree on anything, there's probably a business involved. There's probably an opportunity to make a product, because when there's agreement amongst 3 people, that is an unusual situation. So maybe we need to explore that. Understanding, though, that we can make a difference if we go outside our limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? Well, I'm not good enough. I'm not old enough. I'm too young. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. I can't afford that. All of those limiting beliefs prevent us from figuring out a way to make things possible. We look at life as an ability to understand and share our feelings with others. Remember getting outside that comfort zone? That takes willpower and perseverance to try that, because we're afraid of being shut down. But say you had a great idea about conflict resolution that you wanted to bring to the group, or you wanted something for the community and economic development that you really feel strongly about. The first thing that somebody might say is, well, we've never done that. We can't do that, et cetera. So I always advise people to take some action first, do research, find out if there's agencies already doing that and if ways you can help them instead of recreating the wheel. There's opportunities for you to make a difference in what you feel is the problem. Then obviously there's a need that you should go ahead and exploit or follow through on. So I look at it like this. If we have an idea, God gives us that idea. If we don't use it, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, you're going to hear somebody else that has taken your idea and run with it. And I know you've heard that. I know you've seen it. I know it's happening, because That's what happened. The idea, like I said, floats around out there, but if somebody doesn't use it, God will find somebody else. And I just don't want to be at the pearly gates and tell him, I just didn't have the gumption. I was too tired. I didn't feel like I could do it. If he gives you the idea, he gives you the gifts to do it and to make a difference. One of the important parts of being successful in any kind of these wonderful endeavors that you choose to help with is choosing to make a difference. But you have to do this. You've got to design your reinvention by starting small. Understand your steps, understand what you can do, and then involving others. The most important part is taking a step. I love Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule. And she says, if you hear something, do something, involve something, and you feel excited about that, take and do something else. Make a step, make something within 5 seconds. So while we were at the meeting, Candace pointed out that she really liked an opportunity, and she texted her kids during the meeting, and said, let's do this challenge for the next 30 days. And that taking action will keep the ball rolling. It helps you to live your reinvention in ways that will never, ever disappoint you or anyone else. And then reward wins. As you get to a point, you have to set goals in anything we do. Martin Luther King didn't say, I have a plan. He said, I have a dream. When he stood on those steps, he changed the course of history by having a dream. So you have to share your dream in a way that invigorates, excites not only you, but others. And then keep that momentum going with imagination. So keeping the momentum going helps if you reward wins. It's really tough to keep going down a path that is never rewarded. It's never, no pats on the back. I'm sure you remember that our look and see attitude is never, ever going to go out of style. When we keep learning, even at age 73, like me, you can continue to grow and influence others because you're going to be happier, they're going to be happier. So as you design your reinvention, notice how your small steps influence you, your mental capacity. I want to share something that most people aren't even aware of, and that's the calibration. There is an emotional calibration out there. And if it's been measured, and the highest, of course, is Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha, and they rated 1,000. The average person, 85% of the people in the world, rated at 250. When we get to 200 or below, we are depressed. We are unable to make good decisions. And so when we recognize that there is an opportunity to be positive and enable others to be positive, then we can calibrate and help them recalibrate. So one person radiating at for 300, say, instead of the normal 250, can have an influence on 50,000 people. How? Well, just the positive that is emanating. Your touch in the course of your life, you'll influence 86,000 people yourself. You know that? When you stop at the end of your life and you walk into a stadium filled with 86,000 people, those are all the people that you've influenced. Stop and realize that, would you want them to be booing for you or cheering for you? Was your influence a positive influence or a negative one? The opportunity then for that 50 people in the Rotary group that was sitting listening to this talk, resonating with positivity is going to be able to touch 1 million, 2 million, 5 million people. We can, and each time we move that calibration up, we are going to be influencing others. And how do you move your calibration up? By being positive, by being grateful, by being assertive, getting outside your comfort zone, stepping out and trying new things, because you're learning and growing. That calibration at 20 or 40 is that shame and guilt. And so we walk away from those feelings, work with those others to help them get out of that. And then the whole thing contributes to growing our positivity, our possibilities, and the community as a whole. We are looking for ways to influence others. At the meeting, Candace shared that her dad had 7 brothers. 3 of them have died within the last 6 months, 2 within the last week to 10 days. And he lost his mom as well. And he said to her, "I'm afraid I'm next." And what she said back to him, and she shared with us, was that they gave up. They sat on the couch and watched TV. You are constantly planning a better life for yourself and for others. You're constantly looking at what the next good thing is. Did you know that a huge part of planning a vacation is the excitement in planning it? The anticipation brings us such good vibes. And, if you're not planning something wonderful, then your mind can be easily dragged down. So always believe in the positive. I look at the history often, and I want you to think about what would have happened if Edison, who took 10,000 different ways to not make a light bulb. He didn't say, "I didn't fail at making a light bulb. I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb." So at a company today, would they give an employee 10,000 times to fail, quote unquote? Would it be 5,000? Would it be 500? We could all be sitting in the dark because people wouldn't have the patience to understand that there's a vision there. It's going to take time. We've got to nurture it. Encouraging people, helping people believe in themselves is the only thing that makes our lives manageable and better. One of the things about changing a light bulb, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I've changed a light bulb and it didn't go on. What's going on? Oh, the switch isn't turned. There's no power. We need to hook into that power. Sometimes you have to plug the lamp in, right? We've got to connect to a power source. And so it's really important to have that power source, which I think is gratitude in your life. If you focus on gratitude, you'll have a continuous power source. It is impossible to be angry when you're grateful. It's impossible to be frustrated when you're grateful. It's impossible to be left in the cold when you're grateful. So when you are embracing that change, when you are stepping outside your comfort zone, you're lighting up a new area of your life. And when you light that new area, it's going to not only affect you, but it's going to affect others. You've got the opportunity then to make every single person in your group, in your family, in your career better by lighting up a new area in your own life. We had several people that talked about graduations and going to graduations in the group. And one of them had sons that one graduated from high school, one graduated from college. And then he had grandsons who both were graduating now. And he shared that. And it was like, what a wonderful celebration that he showed his children the value of education, and then they showed their children the value of education. And so that ripple effect, that positive influence, created the opportunity for them to continue on their way, on their journey, looking at the bright light of education and the opportunities that it provides. I ask people to sit down and kind of share some of the areas that they wanted to reinvent in their life. I'd like you to do the same. What kind of area do you need to reinvent? A couple of people were talking about health and that they wanted to be more active and do more cardio. And one of the things that I say is this: what's the one thing that you're going to do today to get started? And I want everybody to be specific, because if you say, I'm going to be more active, then I'm going to say, well, what are you going to do? And then it's going to be, I'm going to do more cardio. Okay, when are you going to do that? I'm going to get up at 7:30 instead of 8. I'm going to jog, or I'm going to run around the block, or I'm going to do 2 miles around the track, or, see what I mean? You've got to set a goal, but it's got to be specific. Use the SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. When you get that figured out in your own head, then life will change. If you say, I want to get healthier, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to exercise. I'm going to eat better foods, and I'm going to use Noom, or I'm going to get on a Weight Watchers, or I'm going to, because you need, if you haven't done it till now, there's nothing stopping you, but you may need a coach. You may need a mentor. You may need someone to help you get from here to there to make a difference in your own life. And so if you need that mentor, accountability partner, or somebody that can help you, find them. They're out there, and make that difference. When I moved to Florida in 2002, I weighed 205 pounds. I chose to lose the weight, get healthier, because I wanted to spend the time in my older years with my grandchildren, able to sit on the floor and play with them. And now I have 8 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren, and I sit on the floor and play with them. So it is important for all of us to have a goal, but the most important part of that is have a why. Why do you want to do it? Who's motivating you? And you'll figure it out then. If you make that decision to have a better life, share it with somebody who cares about you and will be your encourager. I want you to realize that there's opportunities, different ways to reinvent yourself. I gave you many throughout this little talk, but I became a passion test facilitator because that made such a difference in my life. But I'm offering this to the Rotary at half price, which means $24.50. If you would like to take advantage of that. The only problem with Wednesday, June 12th is that it's now full. So I offering to the group Thursday, June 13th. But if you are wanting to take advantage of this particular discount and you can't make it on Thursday, June 13th, you can go online to my website, govanus.com /passion test, and go ahead and pay. Use the discount code reinvent, and I will set up a time with you. I will let you know when the next course will be that you can enter. And I just don't like to have more than 12 in a group. So, and then the second thing I'm offering to you as a wonderful supporter of the Rotary is that I'm going to be at sea doing a reinvention cruise, and I've been doing this since 2014. It is an opportunity. You take the passion test on the first day, and then we have 2 sea days where you'll get an opportunity to learn new things from all kinds of different speakers. Always bring somebody that will do the strengths finders, helping you to recognize yourself and your passions. helping you to recognize and work on resilience or health. And so always those key elements will be represented. The next cruise is January 23rd through the 27th, and we leave out of the port of Tampa. It's a 4-night cruise and 2 sea days, so you get an opportunity to meet and greet and have fun. But the whole idea is that it's an opportunity for you to choose to be a new you. And so I'd love to have you join me. And for every Rotarian, I will donate $50 to the Downtown Orlando Rotary Club. Thank you. The opportunity for you, I brought books. And if you weren't present at the Rotary meeting, I left some with Candace. And if she needs more, let me know. Called Holy Moments. It's a handbook for the rest of your life. It is, and I also included a 30-day challenge, which is, I alluded to Candace saying that she was going to get her kids involved with that. I'm going to read just a short excerpt from this, and I hope that, and the reason I give these books out is it kind of summarizes what I believe that reinvention is and does. You have so much more to offer. You sense it. You may have known it for a long time. It's a truth that lingers, waiting patiently for us to pay attention to it. It's a soul sense. And when your soul senses such a thing, it should never be ignored. You may find yourself thinking or saying, something is missing. There must be more to life. I have so much more to offer. These are sacred truths, but we are often treating them as human malfunctions. We think something's wrong. We think we need to be fixed. We view these sacred truths as problems to be solved. And that, my friend, is a tragedy. I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at bobbi@govanus.com or check out my website. And I thank you so much for your attention.
Bobbi, thanks so much. Thank you for a great message.